Once upon a time. Welcome to Australian Book Lovers, your destination for imagination.
Australian Book Lovers acknowledges First Nations peoples and recognises their continuous connection to country, community and to culture. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging, and honour the sharing of traditional stories passed down through generations. We're committed to a safe and inclusive welcome for authors and readers of all cultures and backgrounds, including people of LGBTQIA+ communities and their families. A big warm welcome to everyone and a huge thank you for joining us for the Australian Book Lovers podcast. Our mission is to bring fabulous Australian and Indigenous literature that spans a whole range of genres to book lovers around the globe, as well as fantastic resources and information for passionate authors looking to write their next bestseller. I'm Veronica Strachan, aka V.E. Patton, fantasy, sci-fi, memoir and picture book writer, voracious reader of many genres, your founder and co-host, coming to you from Wurundjeri Woiwurrung country.
And I'm Laurie Bell, science fiction and fantasy author, blogger, flash fiction writer, short story writer, reviewer, a bit of everything in between, and your co-host today, also coming to you from Wurundjeri Woiwurrung country.
Beautiful, which is experiencing the beautiful autumn. And here we are in episode, I think it's a gross, isn't it? 144.
Yes, yeah, my goodness. And can you believe we're in July?
Oh, it's very scary. It is very scary. Makes me feel a little bit old because when you're young, you know, the Christmases are so far away. But now it's like, didn't we just do Christmas? But anyway, and of course, a few people here are doing Christmas in July and various bits and pieces. Some friends and daughters, etc. We did winter solstice. We actually did it last Wednesday because we'd missed the winter solstice because we were all away. But anyway, we still got together and still celebrated the winter solstice, and it was lovely.
It's going to get slightly lighter each day going forward.
It is, which is just fantastic. And we were just talking about the beautiful light that Australia has and the sunlight on the gum trees this morning as we went for a walk. It's just like, oh, I love this country. It is just so beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous.
And we have so many Australian books to share,
my gosh,
and so many fabulous conversations to have. And we've been busy chatting with people, doing podcasts, writing, thinking about audiobooks, having a little practice. I can't see my little studio around me, but that's good. That's good. So we start with some John Koenig words because I do have a couple. And, one, I think I might have shared this before, but I really love this one. I'm going to share it again because I haven't been in a bookstore for a while. So vellichor, Vellichor, is the strange wistfulness of used bookstores, which are somehow infused with the passage of time, filled with thousands of old books you'll never have time to read, each of which is itself locked in its own era, bound and dated and papered over like an old room the author abandoned years ago, a hidden annex littered with thoughts left just as they were on the day they were captured. Don't you love that?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so that's from vellum, which of course is parchment, and ichor, which is the fluid that flows in the veins of gods in ancient Greek.
Yeah, there's
vellichor.
just a smell about old books,
yes,
isn't there?
Yes.
Nothing better.
Nothing better. All right, but let me give you keir, Keir, which is another noun by John Koenig in his Dictionary of Obscure. Sorry, John, forgot to mention that. Keir. An ill-fated attempt to reenact a beloved memory years later, returning to a place that once felt like home, only to find it now feels uncannily off, like walking through a wax museum of your own childhood.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So have you ever sort of done that and gone, oh, I love that place, and you get there and you go, oh, it's smaller or
it's
tackier
smaller.
or
it's always smaller. It's more real. Doesn't have the same fantasy overlay that I think you have as a kid.
No, that's off rose-coloured glasses or something. Yep. All right. Got another K word for you. Keta, Keta, which is a random image from a distant past that leaps back into your attention. that doesn't mean much of anything, but it's somehow able to keep fighting against the current, swimming back and forth in your mind, still developing.
Mm-hmm.
Keta, I have
That's a
those.
good one.
Those sometimes it just kind of throws and you think, where the hell did that come from? That was like years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't know what triggers it, but
Don't know
sometimes
what
your brain
triggers
just goes, oh, we're just deleting a few.
Could
Are
be
you
a
sure you don't want this
yeah.
one?
Don't say that. No. There's no
Oh.
room. I need to reformat.
Reformat,
The
yeah.
hard
Oh,
drive.
God, yes, reformat the hard drive. Husband's done the brave move of moving from Mac to PC. His
Ooh.
eldest persuaded him that was a better option.
Mhm,
Mind you, his
mhm.
Mac was from 2013. So it's hung in there. It's done extremely well.
Yep.
Second child is a Mac person, so he's going, oh, I don't really want to do that, Dad. But anyway,
It's a tough change,
it
but
is a tough change.
what can you say?
What can you say? Yeah, well, PCs are cheaper, is what we
Yeah.
can say.
That'll do it. That'll do it in this day and age. I've bought so many books lately. I
Yeah.
need to find savings somewhere.
Laurie, this is not good. Do you need an intervention?
Well, I love books, and the more books, the better. I think.
Exactly. And buying books is, of course, a brilliant thing to do. I will admit to
Yes.
buying a couple recently. However,
Yes.
you can always have giveaways. Tell people about our
That's
giveaways,
true.
and I'm just going to get out the ones that are in the next newsletter.
Oh my goodness. Well, we've got so many giveaways, but I don't actually have the list for this newsletter's books, but we have amazing books that come in and get sent to us that
Yeah.
if you jump onto the newsletter, subscribe to the newsletter and go in the running for so many amazing
many books.
Aussie
Yes.
books.
You can go to Book Lovers page on the website and
Yes.
jump in there. So we're giving away, we've only got one more day for people to choose, but I've already got lots of winners for the
Excellent.
whole trilogy of The Pale, for two of Sandy Barker's fabulous romance books, and for Out of the Woods by Gretchen Sherm. So
Cool.
those have been allocated. And the next lot is a copy, thank you, Megabala Books, Desert Tracks by the fabulous Marley and
Yay.
Linda Wells.
It
They
was
gave us a copy, which is
wonderful.
brilliant. We've got an audio book of Dead Man's Pose by Susan Rogers and John Rusin, which is the yoga mat series. So it's absolutely fabulous. So there's Dead Man's Pose, Cobra Pose, Tree Pose, and they are murder mysteries set in Australia, which is just hilarious. I love it.
That's fantastic.
We've also got Saturation, which is a novel by William Lane, and we've got Golden, which we're going to spotlight today by Jade Timms. So 1, 2, 3, 4 books, 3 paperbacks and an audio book to give away because our authors are so generous and publicists.
We absolutely love it.
I've just
Keep sending us books so that we can give them out as wonderful giveaways.
Yeah, wonderful giveaways. And there's no guarantee that you'll get a review, but a lot of our readers are serious readers and they do write reviews, which is fantastic. And we've got some regulars who are lucky enough sometimes to, win the spin, and they know it's worth writing in, which is good.
Yeah, that's so good. And our listeners and watchers are just awesome. So keep on. Oh, speaking of, jump onto YouTube and subscribe because we need some more subscribers.
Yes.
So jump on and do that.
Yes, do that. That really helps. And it's free. And you can, watch us carry on like nut
can watch
dads.
us carry on and usually see a cat butt walk past once or twice. I've got one sleeping beside me at the moment. So don't know where the other one is yet.
No, out and about.
Yep.
Mm.
Whoops, I'm just flicking things all over myself at the moment. I don't know what I'm doing.
Don't ruin your merch.
Yes,
you've got fantasy.
we've got some
I've got
fabulous
sci-fi on
merch.
today. I've got my long sleeve skivvy Australian Book Lovers.
I need to get myself a long sleeve skivvy. That's on my list to do. Where did that go? Anyway, I'll find it.
Anyway, okay.
That's cool. We do love and same with the coffee mugs. I'm going to spruik because the handles are brilliant. It's very hard to find a good handle.
It is. You've got to find a cup that suits you.
Yeah.
Really, you do. All right.
Anyway.
Enough of our self-advertising, but it's important because we are doing this for ridiculous amounts of fresh air.
Yes.
So let's look at book spotlights.
Yay.
No.
Some news. We have some news. I've got some
news.
I've got a very quick bit of news that
Go.
I know you were going to bring up as well,
I
so you can talk
was.
all about it if you like as well. And it may be too late to enter by the time this goes up on air, but we will see what happens. So I am doing a writer's workshop for 12-year-olds to 16-year-olds in the school holidays at Hillsville Library, which is in the eastern suburbs of Victoria. You do need to book. There are limited seats, but we have a huge writing workshop all ready to go with all sorts of great ideas and tips and plotting and editing. Unfortunately, no, editing's great. It's fine. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you've got some budding writers at home that are looking for something to do on the school holidays that does not involve a screen or a phone or anything like that, please book in. They are limited seats, so it is going quickly, but jump in and come and see.
And if you've missed out because we happen to have published this after the date, ask your library to put one on as well. And Laurie
Yeah,
will come to
I
your place,
will
to your
be.
library.
Yep,
And
I will
she'll
come to your
deliver it
library
there.
and do all sorts of fun writing
Yes.
workshops with
So,
you
hey,
as well.
Goldfields Library.
Yes.
Just saying.
I'm available.
You're available, indeed. Beautiful. Now, we were talking to some writers the other day, and they were mentioning about distribution in Australia, talking about libraries.
Yes.
And so somebody, an expat who's now living overseas, but has published a couple of books, and how difficult it can be to get books distributed in Australia. And if you have a traditional publishing, sometimes that's easier, sometimes it's still a little bit tricky. But what would your advice be for going down to local bookstores and getting them to do your book? Because I know
I've
you've
done
had
it.
some success.
It is something that you do need to take the deep breath before going in. But you know what? Not only do bookstores love books and love authors, even if they say no, you know what? You've given it a go. You can ask. Some bookstores will take it on a not a
On
subscription,
consignment?
a consignment. Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. So I was able to get a few of my books into Dymocks, Knox City. Yes, and they haven't taken anything recently, but it's the way of the world. But you pop in, just have a chat to the office managers there. They quite often will bring in books for different stores, so you can actually get yourself on that way. Bennett.com.au, if you go to them, they take books for libraries. So if you list your books on to Bennett, that's where the libraries will order their books from. A
That's
lot of
good
the
to know.
libraries, not all of them, but a lot of the libraries order through there. So give that a go. What are some other ways? Because I do a couple of workshops, I'm able to take some books directly into various libraries, and of course, getting into the good old weekend, the good old weekend. Uh, uh, oh, I'm losing my.
Markets?
Yes, thank you. The markets. Yes, you can sometimes book a table at the markets and pop yourself down there and make yourself visible, which will quite often get you a bit of go, bit of a show, bit of a
Yep.
chat,
Yep.
bit of a talk, but also get to know people. Get 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 to know the industry and do what you can to get your name around with various people. You never know who's connected to who's connected to who's connected. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you never
And
know.
that's right. And promote other people is the other thing. You know, the more you promote other
Absolutely. I
authors,
love
Australian
telling.
authors,
I was telling people at
everybody
work just the
helps.
other day some of our latest interviews and telling them that they really should get a couple of these particular books because they're going
Yeah.
away on leave and they were looking for something to read. So yeah, tell people. There was another one that just occurred to me and it's just disappeared back out of my brain. I have obviously not had enough coffee today.
Have another sip. And
It'll come back to me.
I will say that the more times you see a book, the more times you see a cover or an author's face. And I had an email from one of our lovely readers who's also one of our authors who said she always buys one of the books from our newsletter. So that's her
Hey!
contribution, which
Contribution.
it's about another dozen books a year. And I think, how good is that? She's just fantastic. So thank you.
That's brilliant. See, our
Yeah,
listeners and readers, you are amazing.
they are
And
amazing.
also, that was the other thing that I was thinking of. So, volunteering for Australian pen pals, author pen pals through
Yes,
schools, particularly
yes,
if you're a YA or a middle grade or a picture book author,
yes.
because that it's marvelous writing to the students, and not only encouraging their writing, but you get to talk about your books as well. And I'm always recommending, and the kids are always recommending great reads to
Yeah,
me, because that's the first
yes.
question I ask. What is your favorite book? So that is absolutely marvelous as well, and that will get you out and about and around, and you get to chat to people, and it's just fun.
Good, 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 good. Thank you. Great advice. Okay, how about some news?
Yes. Didn't we just do the news? We've done some
Yeah,
news.
we did do some
Or was
news.
it
So
just
no, we've done news and we've
myself?
talked about
Just my self-promotion.
just yourself's promotion, which is good. Why
Yes.
not? We work
Yes.
hard. But I do want to say to people, the Laurie Bell Writing Workshop, but I also want to mention the Bendigo Writers Festival, which is on the
Yes.
15th to 17th of August. And look, it's a really eclectic event. They've got all sorts of different things. So go to bendigowritersfestival.com.au /2025, the program, and you can see that there's there's a Bookish, which is a Bendigo's local independent bookshop, is going to run, a writers festival bookshop. Singers have been talking about it. ABC Radio are going to do outside broadcast. There's going to be a food share pop-up book fair. There's going to be book exhibitions in the library. So Bendigo is going to really embrace it. Lots of sharing stories, lots of food things, history, all sorts of things. So have a look at the Bendigo Writers Festival just up the road from me, which is fabulous. Now, the ASA, which is the Australian
Society of Authors.
Thank you. I just went a complete blank there. It's just been membership renewal time, and I have renewed my membership, which means that I'm in the draw for 12 literary prize packs. I'm hoping,
That's exciting.
good luck, Fairy, that you're listening, and I've nominated the ones that I want to win, please. And so and really, a book is a gift that you can open again and again, which is a quote by Garrison Keller, and I'm ready to open those again and again. So yes, but ASA are fantastic advocates for writers and creators and illustrators, and I'm working with a friend of mine who's publishing her mum's book. Sadly, her mum died, and her mum was a writer and has left a few books she wanted to publish. And so she's got 3 illustrators from the ASA. She's looked at their work and all those kind of things, and we're putting together a quote so that we can ask them, or we can ask them for a quote, putting together an email to ask them for a quote to do that and get her mum's book written.
They do have the catalogue of writers and the catalogue of illustrators.
Yes.
So yeah, and if you do have a membership, you can get yourself onto that list. So I'm up there on that list. Are you on there as well?
I'm on the list as well. Yes,
brilliant.
So if you need us to come and be foolish at your place, we can do that for you,
or even a live podcast. We
or even a live podcast.
We are good at waffling.
We're good. We're good at waffling about writing, though. That's what makes it funner. Funner. All right. Enough news, which is I've done a little bit of news, but the other place, of course, that you can look for news is literary listings, which is jasonnarang.com, and they have all of the listings. And in June, the end of July, you're looking at it's Library and Information Week, end of July, August. Don't forget that. Perhaps we better get somebody from our local library in to have a chat about that. July to September is Poetry Month. The Rare Book Fair is on in Melbourne, July 31 to August 2nd. Southern Highlands Writers Festival in Bowral is on July 25 to 27, and Phillip Island Festival of Stories 25 to 27, Apollo Bay 25 to 27, the Apollo Bay Word Fest. So it's all happening.
It is all
and Adelaide have got the IPED, which is the Editors Conference, and I think that would be either fantastic or horrible. Nothing to the editors, but I think it would make my heart shrivel and think how much more editing I've got to
have to do. Oh my God,
They are
don't
such precious
remind
people.
me. They
All
are
right.
the most amazing people. And also we've just recently had all of the expos, all the
Yes.
superhero expos, all of
Yes.
the, and so many Aussie writers were there with
Oh,
tables, and
oh,
I've
that's
seen a
good.
lot of their pickies up on the various social media feeds, seeing all these amazing Australian authors sitting there with their amazing books. And I do believe our recent interviewee, SF Souter, he had a table as well. So a
Oh,
lot of
good on the
our
Scott.
authors, because we
Beautiful.
claim them,
We absolutely
we
claim
claim
them.
them. A lot of our authors were there as well, including Amanda Bridgman in WA
Ah,
and Alan
fantastic.
Baxter, who
Yep.
popped over to WA, I believe, as well. Oh, it's amazing. So many good Aussie
It's
writers.
all going on. All right. And what else needs to be going on is book spotlights.
Yes.
Book spotlights. Here we go. We have Killer by Joe Villanti, which is a mystery thriller and suspense. So Johnny McCarter, a hitman for hire, learns he has cancer. With only weeks to live, he struggles to leave his life of crime. McCarter has no family, no friends. He's a loner, and no one will mourn him when he's dead and buried. Killing has been a way of life for McCarter, and he is at the top of his profession, both respected and feared in Melbourne's underworld. But now McCarter wants out of the game, but his boss, Len Taylor, needs him while a truce is being negotiated between a rival gang, with crooked cops sharing the meat. With the news of his impending death and having the power of life or death over his victims, McCarter now takes an existentialist view of life and death and killing. If McCarter now deems fit to grant a contract to kill life, then so be it. As McCarter's health quickly deteriorates, he wants out of his life of crime. Len Taylor accepts his resignation on the condition he completes one last job. McCarter is set up as a revenge kill to guarantee the truce with the rival gang. McCarter barely escapes the setup and leaves town with a price on his head. Although McCarter escaped being killed, he can't escape death. McCarter's health and strength is deteriorating, the pain is unbearable, and the end is near. So he decides on a course of action. McCarter, unrepentant, plans to leave this world, guns blazing, as the kind of man he is, a killer. For in the end, no one gets out alive.
Wow, that sounds like a really fascinating story.
You
So,
can see it as a movie, that one.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So, after a short career in advertising, Joe Villanti began writing, directing, and producing low-budget short films that were well received by audiences. As writing was where his talents lay, he began writing feature scripts, managing to earn script funding through Film Victoria, New Writers Scheme, Screen Australia, and KOSO, KOSO funding. Pathways including hiring Larry Krasinski.
Yeah,
I'm
Karaszewski,
definitely
maybe?
Karaszewski, yeah, maybe. Writer of Ed Wood and People versus Larry Flint, and 1408, my goodness, as script editor and winning or being well placed in several international script writing competitions. As well as script writing, he has collaborated with comedian CJ Fortuna on a sketch comedy show, Angry Pinata, that has won several major comedy awards, including International Comedy Channel Short Film Festival Best Film and a sellout season at the prestigious Red Stitch Theatre. So that is quite a listing of different kind of writing skills there, but
Yeah.
it's all getting out in front of people, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
And it maybe why his book sounds like it would be such a great movie, because he's
Yeah.
probably got that script writing brain happening as well. Very
That's
good.
what I'm thinking, yeah.
All right. Number 2 is Breaking School Rules is Easy by Rosie Schonell. And this is a middle grade book. A movement on the other side of the oval suddenly caught her attention. 2 figures wearing baseball caps and sunglasses were struggling with something wrapped in a rug or carpet. Whatever it was, it looked long and heavy. The suspicious-looking pair glanced around furtively before disappearing into the greenery. Grabbing Billy's arm and squeezing it hard, she pointed across the oval to a clearing in the trees. I just saw two people carrying something. They were heading down the path to the back of the school. It looked like a body. For Billy and Minty, breaking school rules is easy, but solving a centuries-old mystery is the real challenge. In debut author Rosie Schonell's nail-biting middle-grade mystery, we're introduced to two strong-willed protagonists who set out on an intriguing adventure in the grounds of their school, Mirrabooka Girls' College. Faced with an old legend and a missing treasure, the sleuths are compelled to solve the cryptic clues and unlock past secrets. Mum told me about this place. It's supposed to be haunted by the ghost of a girl called Cordelia who fell out of the tower window. Apparently, she'd sit on the window ledge at night, staring into the bush. They think something scared her and caused her to fall. Ghosts, ancient keys, grisly dogs, riddles, paper maps, spooky cemeteries, and blood-sucking leeches. The girls face it all as they try to uncover the Abercrombie family curse in the haunted house. There you go.
Wow, that is so cool.
Mm.
All right. Well, and I love a good ghost story, as we've talked about before. So that does sound so. I love a good investigation as well. And Rosie has a Bachelor of Arts and a Master of Special Education. She has taught English at all levels in schools and specialised in teaching students with learning difficulties. She also volunteers at schools and organisations that teach reading, including teaching newly arrived adult migrants. She loves the game of pickleball, out rigging on Pittwater, and volunteers as a crisis supporter at Lifeline. Rosie lives with her husband and has 3 adult children. She is raised to love books as much as she does. She spends her time between Balmain and the northern beaches of Sydney.
Beautiful. And of course, that was confusing because I missed half of what I should have read about Rosie is that she's also passionate about engaging young readers, saying she was drawn to middle grade fiction because of its potential for adventure. You need to create enough suspense to keep characters guessing while making sure the clues are woven in seamlessly. And of course, the characters need to be relatable and fun. She hopes readers will take away the powerful message that by facing your fears, you become empowered to take on further challenges. So sorry about that, Rosie. I stuffed that up completely. But anyway,
That's what
let's
I
look
love
at.
about our young writers and authors and readers.
Yeah. All right. We have a second book by one of our authors, definitely going to call it our authors, Miranda Luby. This is The Edge of Everything, and it is a young adult book. When a rare and highly endangered bird flies into Lucy's bedroom window, she feels it's a sign. Of what? She's not exactly sure, but maybe it means she'll get her life back on track after the sudden death of her brother a year ago. Maybe she'll find some meaning in the randomness of existence and work out her place in it. Maybe she'll find a way to stop the wild stunts she's been pulling with Jacinta just to keep her thoughts from spiraling for a few moments. She takes the injured bird to a local wildlife sanctuary, and there she meets Ben. He's cute, a tiny bit flirty, and he cares as much about the bird's survival as Lucy does. He could be the distraction she needs. But when unrelated events collide, Lucy realizes things are not going to be that simple. Miranda Luby's second novel is a heartfelt portrayal of grief, a tender romance, and a tribute to a very special Australian bird, a celebration of life in all its randomness and wonder.
That's fantastic. So, Miranda Luby is an author, journalist, copywriter, and animal lover living on Victoria's surf coast. She has won several awards for her short stories, and her journalism features in publications such as National Geographic, BBC Travel, and New York Post. Miranda was shortlisted for the Text Prize for her debut novel, Sadie Starr's Guide to Starting Over.
Yes, which is fantastic. And we have that on the website as well.
We do.
All right. Book number 4, one of our giveaways in next month's newsletter, is Saturation by William Lane. And it's a contemporary speculative fiction. So Ambrose and Ursula, both librarians, it's all about the librarians today, isn't it? Strive to have a baby in a world where children seem less prevalent. Their story becomes increasingly punctuated by seemingly random episodes of violence inflicted upon their world as Botrel, a fascist leader, preys on the insecurities of a populace saturated with information and the act of remembering. He attempts to master the past, viewing it as a source of corruption. He persecutes librarians and begins to selectively cull collections. Ambrose and Ursula attempt to remain outside this conflict, but inevitably are drawn into it. through their desire to save the books they have spent their working lives preserving. They realise that they must save the past for a new generation to be able to understand it. Narrative and character-driven, this is a startlingly original novel that passionately opposes the trend for banning books and the attempts to rewrite history. Set in a slightly future world that has managed the climate crisis but with a dramatic decrease in population, Saturation feels eerily like now. As we constantly forget names and passwords and lean into a tyranny of reductivism, it calls us to a position of knowledge and hope. Praise for Williams' work is that it's moody and unsettling, taut and densely imagined. There you go. And there's a few more bits and pieces that you can read on the website if you look up Saturation.
That's amazing. So William Lane lives in a quiet rural corner of the Hunter Valley, New South Wales.
Well, that's a beautiful part of the world.
Yeah, it is. He shares his life with his librarian partner. There we go. And his 3 teenage children. When he's not writing, he loves to read, play vinyl records, or make up songs while looking out of his window at the Broken Back Range. He has been a teacher, business manager, and academic. After completing an honours degree in Australian literature, he completed a doctorate on the Australian writer Christina Stead and has had several critical articles on Stead published in literary journals. He is the author of 5 other novels published by Transit Lounge: Over the Water, The Horses, The Salamanders, The Word, and Past Life. His short story collection Small Forest was a finalist in the inaugural Camel,
You were
Carmel,
right.
yes. Yeah. Inaugural Carmel Bird Digital Library Award and was published online in 2018.
Fabulous. All right, number 5, Shootin' Through by Sean Gorman. I've got to see him there, but it is actually Sean. Like, oh man, my spelling is dreadful today. All right, this is in fact a thriller. So set in late 1979, Shootin' Through is a raw, high-octane road trip through outlaw Australia. Michael Duck Donnell and his wild mate Barry, Pinky Salter, steal a valiant charger and tear across the Nullarbor, running from their boring lives and chasing freedom. Joined by the street-smart Missy, they find themselves hunted by bikies, crooked cops, and the brutal WA underworld. With a rifle in the boot and chaos on their heels, their desperate dash to Sydney's 2SM Concert of the Decade becomes a fight to stay alive. Oh, that sounds hilarious.
That does sound hilarious. Sean Gorman lives in Freo, where he ruminates and writes about shit. After years of grinding away on Shooting Through, Gorman couldn't land a publishing deal for Love or nor Dimmy. So he did it himself. This self-published audiobook is proof of his grit and refusal to give up. Shootin' Through is a raw, unapologetic dive into a world that once was dragging its ghosts into the light with humour, authenticity, and zero sentimentality. Plug in your headphones, crank it up, and enjoy the ride. Dimmy's on the house. There you go.
All right, number 6 and number 7 are by the fabulous Frances Mackay. So let me read to you about Mammals and Birds of Tasmania, children and middle grade book. So it's perfect for kids who like to write, draw, colour, solve puzzles and learn about animals. Discover the amazing animals of Tasmania, the island state of Australia. So inside, kids will discover one of Australia's rarest birds, the world's smallest possum, the only egg-laying mammals in the world, the largest carnivorous marsupial, and the animal that poops in cube shapes. I know who that is,
We all
but I'm
know
not
that
telling.
one. Yes.
Get the book to find out. So with stunning photos, colourful illustrations and fun facts, this book is both educational and entertaining. Perfect for young animal lovers. The printable activity pages include puzzles, mazes, colouring, writing, drawing, designing, dot-to-dot, observation, comprehensive, and labelling. Keep your kids busy and having fun while they learn.
So I'll tell you about Frances. So Frances Mackay is a teacher, educational writer, and children's book author. Born in Tasmania, where she began her teaching career, she moved to the UK in 1985 and continued teaching in England until 1997, when she left to set up an educational publishing company. After the company was sold in 2007, Frances resumed her writing career, working for a variety of publishers in the UK and Australia, and has had over 90 books published. That's amazing.
It is
Since
amazing.
2021, Frances has independently published 15 books, including picture books, activity books, and non-fiction books. She specialises in books for primary schools and children from ages 2 to 12. Frances was a guest in the Writers' Room back on our podcast episode 137.
Yes, so jump
Yes.
on if you want to have a listen and hear us chat with Frances. That was really
Yes.
good. We had another middle grade author as well. And so, yes, go and find episode 137 and you'll discover who. All right, one more of Frances's fabulous books, again, children and middle grade. It's called Awesome Facts About Tasmania. So discover amazing facts about Tasmania. Did you know that Tasmania is home to jumping spiders, ghost towns, and the mysterious Tasmanian tiger? Awesome Facts About Tasmania is packed with hundreds of fascinating facts about this incredible island state of Australia. Inside this book, kids will discover unique wildlife from Tasmanian devils to little penguins, must-visit places, caves, mountains, and biking hotspots, mysterious history, convicts, ghost towns, and funny place names, incredible sea creatures, discover Tasmania's marine life, reptiles and creepy crawlies, learn about snakes and spiders. Again, beautiful, stunning photos and fun facts. The book is perfect for young explorers and curious minds. Each topic in the book has a colourful information page full of interesting facts and photos. Each topic includes a fun printable activity page, and the printable activity pages include puzzles, mazes, colouring, writing, drawing, designing, mapping, observation, comprehensive, and of course, labelling. There you go. Thank you, Frances. More
So many
things
good
to keep.
books.
Yes, so many good books, and we have lots more to share
Mm.
with you. But that is the end of our book spotlights
Spotlights.
for this episode.
Yes. So maybe we should jump into my lovely interview with the amazing Elly Both. Book lovers, I am absolutely delighted to have with me today Elly Both, author of, and this is a really fun one, a kid's book about ADHD. Welcome, Elly.
Thanks, Laurie. Good to be here.
Oh, fantastic. I'm so glad to be able to have the opportunity to chat to you since I'm actually calling you while, and you can tell by the lighting here, it's night for me, but it's still afternoon for Elly. Elly is in Singapore.
And it's very hot too.
Oh, it
We're
is
in summer.
freezing.
Yeah.
Elly, I'm coming to you from my usual place of Wurundjeri Wurrung land in Victoria. So I was going to ask you, where are you coming from today? But when you were in Australia, where were you coming from there?
Yeah, I'm from the Wimmera, Horsham originally.
Fantastic. And I actually have, because the lovely Horsham is actually a conjunction of five traditional owner groups of the land. So that is the Watbatjaluk, Jadwa, Jadawajari, Wergaya, and Japaluk people. So I do apologise if I have mangled the pronunciations of all of your people's names. But thank you very much for coming to us today.
Yeah.
So, Elly, I'll tell our listeners a little bit about you. So, you are a first-time author with the book, a kid's book about ADHD, which was released back in 2024, so only a year ago. Elly is a mum of two, business owner, and lives in Singapore. So, tell me, Elly, how did you come to write this book?
Oh my gosh, I think I sound like I sound a bit woo-woo when I say it, but I felt really honestly called to write this book. I've loved the series of a kids book or the Kids Code books for many years, and I've got such a big collection for my kids, and just thought one day I'm going to write a kids book about ADHD, and so then I just made it happen.
So why ADHD?
I've got lived experience myself, so I was diagnosed only a few years ago. And I always I guess, reflecting with the way that, my kids are growing up and whether or not they've sort of got some neurospiciness in them as well. But yeah, I just wanted to sort of, do it for my inner child, or do it for other kids who are kind of coming up against the challenges of ADHD or a diagnosis that feels really big and tricky and difficult. Just to sort of, give a bit of a sense of it's not all doom and gloom. There's some cool stuff in there as well. So,
and I
I wanted to do
absolutely
that.
love the positivity of it, and
Thank
we'll
you.
ask you a little bit about that. But tell me,
Yeah.
so you said diagnosed it late.
Yeah.
How did you come to be diagnosed? Was this something that had
Yeah.
been weighing on you for a little while, or you didn't know
Yes.
what was up?
Yeah. Look, I think I've assumed that I've had it for a very long time, probably like since early to mid-career. And then I was doing a checklist online for one of my kids. This is a very familiar story to a lot of parents who also have a late diagnosis, I know. And I was doing this checklist going, oh, yeah, maybe he's got a couple of these. And then it just went clunk after question 5. I was like, oh, this is actually me in a nutshell. So, yeah, I went through the assessment process. Excellent healthcare here, really easily accessible for me here in Singapore. So I was very lucky with that. And it was a very simple process. So I know that's not the case for everybody. But yes, came out with a very, very clear textbook, both types, combined type.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yes. So both the hyperactivity and the inattentive, which I could have guessed that was the case.
That must clash a little bit for you.
I think you learn how to deal with it, right? I think I know how to sort of steer the ship is what I say, but I love that sort of daydreaming sense. And I often, even now, will kind of go off into that and then I can hyper focus and get stuff done. So I know that there's sort of those two sides that I sort of play on, and that enables the creativity and also the get stuff done. So yeah, I think I know how to drive it now. It hasn't always been that way. Yeah, it's a long road.
Well, I'll tell you all about the book. So it is a kid's book about ADHD. A person with ADHD has a unique way of experiencing the world around them, and sometimes that can feel challenging. But this author believes that there are powerful skills that come with the special way of experiencing life. And as a person with ADHD, she knows it's true. This book helps kids aged 5 to 9 learn and understand what ADHD is, allowing them to grow in confidence by reframing ADHD as a superpower. Everyone's brain works differently, and how cool is that? And what I love about this book is it's also useful for parents reading with their kids.
Yeah. I've had a lot of feedback from parents actually just on that, which is that, they've also seen parts of themselves in the book, or it sort of put something to bed for them to say, oh, maybe it's not, I can forgive myself for having a brain that sort of ping pongs around the room or pinball machines around the place. There's sort of like a level of dropping the guilt and shame, which I talk about as well. Because I think, and to talk about, I guess, my diagnosis and the fact that I know for other people it's not a positive experience. I think that a lot of people have a really strong guilt and shame reaction to that diagnosis, parents or individuals themselves. And so I just wanted to, try something a bit different and shine a light and say, actually, these are the cool things that come along with it. Like, let's not just dwell on this. They're there. The challenges are there. Like, I'll never be someone to sugarcoat that or sweep them under the carpet. Definitely not. And also there's this really cool side. So you get to be creative. You get to have a high sense of energy a lot of the time. There's a lot that kind of comes with that, and the hyper focus that I mentioned too.
The hyperfocus or the hyperfixation, I certainly can relate
Either
to
one.
from that point of view. So a lot of my friends, I think, would also jump in and say, yeah. And like you say, reading the book, you do tick a few boxes and you think, oh, right. Is there anything that you wish you'd known about earlier with your diagnosis?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not really someone who would look back in the past and like kind of kick myself for not having done this sooner, because I guess it's not really, don't have a time machine at this point. But yeah, I sort of think it would have been nice to have, a book like this when I was a kid, or just a different kind of approach to, the workplace when I was kind of in the corporate world. I think that would have been pretty helpful as well. So there's probably a few things that, and I know some friends, from the broader ADHD sort of industry, if you like, but people who are sort of working in this space. And they really talk about, the different facets that they want to influence. And I think that, a lot of that work is kind of coming out now, which is also very cool.
Yeah, it is really great. Yeah. So moving on to the writing of your book then. So here's your idea. Here's your fabulous. Let's get this done. Let's put it together. How did you go about writing it?
Oh my gosh. Well, to use your term, I'm definitely a pantser. I hadn't heard that before, but I love it.
Yep.
I, you know what? I thought about it a lot. Like, I almost think that I had written it in my head and then kind of sat down to put it on paper in, various stages as well. But it was something that I really played with and could sort of, the words were swirling around there, and I wanted to, articulate some of the things like bouncing off the walls, like some strong visual sort of ideas, or your head in the clouds, like sort of floating around, and like these very different experiences of what ADHD can be like. And then, when I finally sat down to write it, it was quite, I won't say an easy process, definitely not that, but it was a process that I sort of, went through methodically, which for me is not maybe the way that I necessarily do things.
I was going to say, did any of your own reactions, and you know yourself well enough, did that cause you any issues while you were writing?
With this, funnily enough, not, I don't think. I mean, there's also a perfectionistic tendency in me, which made it, when I was working with my amazing editor at a Kids Co, that was probably a tougher part of the process for me, is to like say, right, this is locked down and good to go now. We got there in the end. But I think the writing process, I mean, I love to write. I've always loved to write. I've always wanted to be a writer since I was a kid. And I've sort of found pockets of time where I do this, like ridiculously on maternity leave. I started a journal, and, in the workforce, I was always trying to find things to create and write about. So I think that's just kind of in me. But I think the process of writing this was almost like a cathartic experience in a lot of ways, to sort of give myself that understanding of, this is why this is like it is, and this is why your brain, goes on holiday sometimes and it doesn't go into gear when you want it to. So so I think it was a nice experience.
So when did you actually have the idea, I'm going to write this book, I'm going to publish this book, or was it just that getting the words out on the page?
I didn't really know how I wanted to tackle it, but I knew that there was something in there to make kids feel okay about this diagnosis. And in fact, more than that, but to really embrace this as, part of who they are, not an identity as such, but it's just, this is part of who I am, accept it, embrace it. I mean, I love that term. I don't think that resonates with everyone, which I'm aware of. But I really do see it as that, because I think, you look around a lot of people in the public eye, and I certainly know for myself, I probably wouldn't have done so many different things in my career and life if I hadn't have sort of had this maybe impulsiveness, maybe some of these other things that, I ended up just going with, and I think that served me well. So I do see it as a superpower. But as I say, I'm conscious that it's not always that way. The stigma of ADHD is really what I wanted to kind of work on, by just kind of, bringing the pendulum swing a little way away from that kind of, bad, negative, wrong, life sentence kind of a feeling.
So how did you get to that publishing stage then? How did you find your publisher?
So as I said, I've loved the publishing group of Kids Co for many years, and I felt called to sort of reach out to them and start the conversation going. They made it very easy, like allocated an amazing editor to me, who I know added much value. Well, she added a lot of value to what I had written as the getting stuff into existence, and then obviously making it better. And the design team as well. So I'm really happy with like how fun, and there's no pictures as such, but the way the typography sort of tells the story, I think is really cool, and I think it engages kids, especially with those pinball brains too.
Yes, I did want to actually talk about that. So did you have those designs in mind when you were discussing the back and forth with your editor, or did they give you hints, or how about the design? Because I do love it. It's so colourful.
Yeah, thank you. We sort of talked a bit about the I guess that flash of inspiration that kind of comes with ADHD, and sometimes, obviously that can take us down the garden path. But it was things like, a bolt of lightning or an exclamation point, which is what we ended up going with, or that kind of like, shouty language, which I think, some of that you obviously have seen throughout the book, which is kind of, designed to be like, this inspiration of, let's do this, or, oh my gosh, I've just had the best idea, or, kind of following that, I guess maybe impulsivity, but that sort of inspiration.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, the book is very colourful, and hopefully I'll get you to read a little bit of it shortly so that we can have that through. With your publishing journey then, so the book
Mm,
comes out.
mm,
What happened next for you? Did you
yeah.
go on the publicity rounds? Did you do any talks or anything along those lines?
Yeah, I've done some. I did engage someone who did some amazing PR for me actually for a few months, which was awesome.
Awesome.
And then I have had some really inorganic requests for talks and things with schools in Singapore, which I've
Oh,
absolutely loved
wow.
doing. It's just been one of the best things I've
That's
loved.
so
It's
exciting.
just kind of come out of nowhere, not something I drove, which I've loved. So yeah, I've spoken to parents, I've spoken, sort of like to teachers and kind of engaging that side of, how do we bring maybe changes into education? I'm not an expert, but I
Yeah.
love having the conversations.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I've done a lot of
It's
podcast
amazing.
interviews over the last sort of 18 months or so.
Mm.
It's not my, I guess, the spotlight's not my comfort zone. But I think a lot of authors, and I was talking to a friend about it today, a lot of authors would shy away from it, but actually it's just something you need to do to get your book into the hands of kids who appreciate it and love it. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's been
particularly
some growth
these
for me.
days. Oh wow.
Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
that sounds amazing with the school visit. So how have the
Yeah.
students reacted to the story?
Yes, I haven't actually, I don't know whether you want to cut this down. I don't know, I'm not sure what I'm saying. Um, I haven't connected with students yet. I think it's
Mhm,
something that I'd love to do.
mhm.
But I guess the feedback that I've had from parents of kids who've been reading this book to them has just been gorgeous. Like some of the things that I've heard kids say is, well, that I've heard parents say about what their kids' reaction has been are things like, oh my gosh, mummy, Elly really knows me. And these are kids I've never met or don't know at all well.
That's
Or,
fantastic.
that's me. And then they flip the page and they're like, that's me too. And they sort of like can see themselves or feel understood in the pages of the book, which is absolutely what I wanted to achieve by writing it. So I think for me, that's, if I've heard that, I've heard it a dozen times. And that's,
Mhm.
yeah, that's absolutely what I wanted to do. So I'm stoked for that.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That I don't think that you can get better feedback from
Yeah.
kids than that. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's so honest and authentic. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So with when you sat down to write,
Mm.
did you have a writing room? Did you go on inspirational walks? What was your journey as you were writing the
I like
story?
that question. I thought about it a lot when I was walking around. Like that's when I do my best thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a lovely walk in my house and I've got some jungle, which I'm super lucky for. And I was thinking about it a lot. And then actually when I went on holiday, I was in
Oh,
Bali, just staying in a beautiful, small, amazing villa, and
mhm.
then just sat down to, write bits and pieces when the inspiration struck. So I
Nice.
think I do need to sort of create that writing environment to your question. And where I normally write here is sitting outside in the Singapore heat and,
Oh, wow.
sort of being surrounded by nature. And that's something that I really love as well. Yeah.
So author drink then. What's your go-to
Oh my God.
what's your go-to
Um,
beverage?
Very cold water because you're obviously outside.
Yep.
But yeah, iced coffee all the way.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, there's something about coffee and writing, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely sparks this into action. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So I was wondering,
Mm,
if because you've got this as a kid's book, and it really is that introduction to
mm,
the topic and can spark that discussion with parents and kids.
yeah.
What would you hope or want that to trigger in people as to their next
Mm,
steps? What do you think could be a next step for someone reading it going, oh,
yeah.
wait, I get this.
Yeah. Well, I wonder it's sort of like, I wonder where this book kind of comes in the journey. I
Mhm.
think, I certainly wanted parents to, who have already had a diagnosis and an assessment or, an assessment and diagnosis for their kid. And maybe they've got this label that they're not sure what to do with. I kind of wanted that to be, hey, it's okay. There's things you can do. Like, let's
Yep,
harness what the superpowers are that your kid has.
yep.
Do they love to write? Do they love to draw? Like, what are they musical? Like, what's their superpower? And I think that sort of harnessing that is, I think something, or what's their hyper focus and superpower to harness that. I think that's a really
Yeah.
cool thing.
Oh,
And
I
I
like
also
that.
just think, if there are, if a kid takes this home from the school library and maybe it's not something that their family's dealing with, it's designed, I guess, to provide that understanding of what maybe other families are dealing with or other kids in your classroom. You know, maybe that kid won't be seen as naughty if there's a bit more understanding of, you know, what they've got going on in their brain, which is going 400 miles an hour. So, you know, I don't know if I answered your question, but it's just kind of that
but
sort
yeah,
of
I
fluid,
like that idea. And
what they do with that.
would you think of writing a more teenage level ADHD intro?
I would actually. I've got some ideas. I've got about, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 half-written books, but they're not very good yet. They're getting there. One I think has got legs. But it's more that sort of, you know, from, like you said, that the book's sort of from 5 to 9, maybe up to 10, 11. But following that, I think kids, you know, need a bit more, or maybe it's a story of the main character having ADHD in sort of a reader format, something like that. But
that would be cool.
Yes, needs got some legs, but needs a bit of work.
Yep. No, I love that. I think that would be brilliant. And as you, I mean, you said yourself, you were diagnosed late. So what's that from that adult point of view? Having that intro book, it's an awesome intro book for kids. But is there an element there that you could take to an adult version for those that
I'd love to do that as well. Yes, I would really love to do it as well. Yes, I think, I mean, it's getting the right hyper focus and putting the time aside to get it done. But yeah, there's a few ideas that I've got, and I'd love to write for adults as well, just to kind of, you know, for other people who've had a similar journey to me, and
as you say, so many come to it late. That it's when they're assessing their kids that they think, oh wait, I tick a lot of these boxes.
Yeah, exactly. And they might be in their 30s, or as I was, early 40s. So it's like, you know, a license for your brain, or, you know, a bit of an understanding, or a handbook of, it's all good, this is what we've got, like let's
did you come to understand yourself a lot more when you realized?
Yeah, absolutely. The day I got the diagnosis, I was all good. When I was in with the doctor, I thought, oh, okay, this is okay. This makes a lot of things just going clunk, 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 all the school reports, all the, you know, like things that you've heard throughout your career or your childhood or whatever. And then there was, you know, I called my husband about it and just went into floods of tears, because it was just like the biggest relief to be, oh my gosh, like, and also maybe some regret in there. But like I said, I'm not such a regretful person, but, you know, oh gosh, why didn't I know this 15 years before, 5 years before? Like maybe, you know, maybe it would have opened up some different things. But like I say, I don't love to think like that, but it's certainly after that kind of, you know, I think relief was, like just kind of, you know, onwards and upwards, like, let's see what we can do with this, and harness the superpower, if you like. So
so because the book is so colorful and it is very poppy, and I do love the way it comes across like your old Batman pal.
Pal.
Absolutely. Did you actually, were you able to influence anything there with the editing?
But I love the design idea. Well, there were a few floating around, and when I saw this one, I thought, that's absolutely right. And I just love that kind of bam, boom.
Did you find that the editing process for you with the back and forth, did that cause you any issues with yourself and the ADHD brain? Because I know deadlines can be tricky. Having that exact, it's got to be done, that's it, don't touch it anymore.
That is the hardest bit. It's like getting it to 90% was very easy. This is like absolutely ADHD 101, but getting it to 90% was easy. And then it was the, you know, finalization, finishing touches. Should we keep this word or take it out? You know, no darlings to kill, luckily, but there were, you know, like some finessing or getting the questions right, you know, for the discussion with kids after the book and so forth. But I mean, the team was really kind, super helpful, and like, you know, they thank God they were there, because I don't know how long that would have taken me otherwise.
Fantastic. So how long between you coming up with the idea of the book and it being published? How long was that journey for you?
Good question. It was within a year for sure. I think I put pen to paper, fingers to keyboard in July, and the book was published in January. So it was a super quick turnaround from that perspective, but we had been talking a bit before that to nut it out.
Oh, fantastic. So I guess, what was my next question going to be? So for next steps for you, for this book being so meaningful. Like
Yeah.
it would be brilliant to have it in more schools, for example,
Yes.
and have that discussion happening. Is
Yeah.
there anything that you're doing from that PR side of things? Are you really pushing for
Mm.
those discussions to take place?
I haven't yet. I know that it's in quite a few schools here in Singapore, but I don't. Yeah, I'm kind of I'm out of the Aussie market at the moment. I'm not sort of pushing that, but libraries is also somewhere that I was thinking. Public libraries, I'd love to have it in, so that there's access and access that way as well. Yeah,
great idea. I
and the cards.
I know as a kid sitting there at the library, opening up the books and reading through them and just thinking, oh, this is cool. So that it works. It gets kids
It'll
to
catch
see
your
things.
attention.
Yeah. They see things that they don't think they'd see.
Yeah, exactly.
So what advice would you have for your younger self?
Good question. I think it's the same probably advice that I would give to anyone who feels like they're struggling. So, there's nothing wrong with you. Your brain is unique. We're differently wired, and that's all okay. And if you can figure out how to drive this car with, maybe the wheels are on the outside, maybe there's something going on the roof or something. But if you can figure out what your strengths are, then you'll absolutely thrive in life. And it's just sort of connecting to that and connecting to what makes you happy and what you love. So yeah.
I love that. So who helped you the most when you started out with your writing?
I got so much lovely support from my husband, which is a nice thing to be able to say.
Wonderful.
Yeah, he really was like, wow, babe, this is really good. So, element of surprise, but yeah, no, it was really fun. And I had a lot of help from good friends as well. Yeah, a lot of support, a lot of kindness from friends too. Yeah,
that's fantastic. And from the parent groups or teacher groups?
No, not so much. I hadn't been connected into that, but more sort of like friends and independent circles, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with your writing routine, do you have an actual routine for when you sit down and have to put words down? When you have to sit down?
When I have to. It's like when the I don't know, when the momentum is like, I don't know, I'm champing at the bit trying to get something down. On Friday I sat down and wrote for an hour while the kids were at tennis, but it's almost like pockets of time where the inspiration strikes and you've got the drive to do it and the energy to do it. So definitely a writing routine would help me because I'm much fresher in the morning. So I almost think like creating an hour a day to write would actually really help me, but it's not something I do just yet, sadly.
Maybe routine's a bit hard at times.
Yeah, I think for me it's when the lightning bolt strikes.
So what's the most useful writing advice you'd been given?
How to phrase it without swearing. Just write
now
it.
I definitely want to know.
just make it exist, I think is something I recently shared on my Instagram too. Make it exist first and make it good second. Yeah, that's great advice.
Yeah. So what is your writing goals for the next 12 months?
Yeah, I've definitely, like I say, I've got so many ideas and things that I'd love to do. But there's two kind of that have that kind of burning desire to kind of get them done. So yeah, that's my goal between now and this time next year, I'd say.
Watch this space.
Yeah.
I bounce around a lot in my questions, but what inspired the book cover?
I think it was really around, like we talked about some different ideas for sort of the theme of the book. Because each one actually in the series is really quite different. So they sort of, have different, they're all stories that are told by the person who's had the lived experience. So it's really an amazing series and I feel so lucky to be a part of that. So there are things like, a kid's book about racism, and then there's sort of a theme throughout that book, which is really powerful. There's a kid's book about shame, which I really love, which is, designed as like a little character that kind of, rears his head out every now and then. And then there's, a kid's book. Gosh, I love so many of them and now I'm drawing a complete blank. But yeah, there's definitely like a theme that kind of goes through each book. And so when we were talking about this, it was around that sort of the inspiration, that sort of, that shock of inspiration, if you like, that sort of comes with ADHD that, might take us somewhere we don't necessarily need to go at that point or down a rabbit hole on Google. But, like that, the lightning bolt or an exclamation mark or something like that, that sort of, aha moment maybe, that sort of, I've got to do this thing. Oh, I've got this great idea.
Yep.
So we really wanted to play with that.
Well, that's actually really interesting when you say that. So is there the potential of a second book in the series with techniques, or what things can I use to harness my superpower?
Oh, I love that. Great
Yeah.
idea. Thanks. I'll credit you when I write it.
Oh, please do. We'll get you back on. We'll have it up.
I love that. I think I've written some articles, like I've written a few blogs and so forth in terms of promoting the book. And I think it's more me giving advice to parents on sort of how to harness that in their kids. I don't know if there's a book in that, but certainly there are a few blog posts floating around by me.
I would think there'd be a lot of parents thinking, how do I get her down from the walls?
Yeah.
Particularly the difference with girls and boys too. And because, as you say, girls, we mask, it gets masked so easily.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I was talking to a friend recently, and her daughter was sort of, it was articulated by her daughter's teacher that she thought that this girl had ADHD because she noticed that she was tuning out and, daydreamy and that kind of thing. So it's, I think, amazing now. I mean, teachers have got so much to handle, but it's amazing now that teachers are educated in this way to sort of spot what it might look like, which is not maybe the traditional sense of climbing the walls and not being able to sit still. There's also like the inner daydream presents as pretty engaged, but the mind is kind of,
or that focus on colouring, or that focus on reading in my case, or that focus on you can't tear me away from it sort of thing. So it's really interesting to, but I wonder whether techniques or ideas would help kids and parents, I guess.
Yes, absolutely.
Write
that down.
So if it was an audiobook, because it's so visual, and I can imagine a voice actor could have so much fun with it. Who would you most love to read your book?
Oh my gosh. Do you know that I don't know why this came to mind, probably because I've just listened to his autobiography, but the gorgeous Trevor Noah, the comedian. So he's very open about his ADHD, talks a lot about it, his coping strategies. He's been quite vocal about that in conversations. And he'd have a lot of fun with it because he's a comedian. So let's get that happening.
For sure. I think that would be awesome to listen to.
Vision board. Yeah.
It'd be like more pages.
Yeah.
So do you have any final words for any readers or writers out there, particularly ADHD writers out there? Do you have any words for them if they're wanting to sit down and write a book?
Yeah, I think do it in a way that works for you. So I heard recently how Brene Brown writes her books, actually. Have you heard this? She will get a few friends, they'll go away for a weekend, rent an Airbnb, and she'll tell these stories. The friends will take notes, and then they'll give her all the notes, and then she'll write the book. So I also think, like, a lot of mine is I record voice notes to myself. If I'm out walking and I get this like bolt of inspiration, I'll just like record a voice note or a voice memo to myself. So I think it's like you work in a way that works with your brain. And I think that's, again, like harnessing those sparks of creativity when you get them. So I think there's like, different ways to write a book. It's not just, I guess, sitting down and having quiet time or having a schedule or doing it in any way that sort of works for other people, sort of designing what works for you. Yeah.
I like that. I like that, working with your own brain.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, it's just going to be frustrating.
Now, did you want to read a couple of pages of your book?
Yes. What should I read? Maybe I'll just read the last few pages.
Yeah, go for it.
Where shall I start? I mean, it only takes 5 minutes to read the whole thing. So anyway, let me start from here. Accepting others for who they are is really important, and so is accepting ourselves. Having ADHD can feel difficult. I'm not going to lie about that. But remember the strengths of your brain too, because it's amazing and unique, just like you.
Oh, I love that. And see,
see
it's so poppy and colourful. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Oh, thank you for reading that. So where can people find you online?
Yes, I'm on Instagram at Today We Write. So I share various journaling prompts. I'm always encouraging people to write there. Or you can find me via my website, which is ellyboth.com.
Fantastic. Well, I think you need to get up a big blog going with all sorts of tips and tricks
Will
for
do. You've
all those
inspired me.
ADHD writers out there.
Will do. Oh, thanks,
Um,
Will.
I was going to ask you for a last question. It will come to me. I'm sure it will come to me. I wrote down so many questions and I just wasn't sure where to go to from there. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
So, in hindsight,
yeah,
is there anything with the book that you wish you could have added, that
yeah.
you would change in hindsight, that you would want to make more of? Is there anything that sort of sticks with you at
Mm,
all?
Good question. Um, I think with a book like this, the intention um, wasn't intended to be a medical book. So I worry actually that people might have a misunderstanding that there's a lot of information about what it is medically, or the condition itself. So it's really an experiential book, as you know from reading it. There are a lot of references at the back that we included, so parents or other grown-ups who do have questions about it. There are some geared toward kids and
Research.
some geared towards grown-ups, but there's a lot of links there for references if people want to kind of go into that medical side. But that's probably, yeah, some feedback I've had since
Okay, no, that's
publishing.
that's really
Yeah,
good because I can absolutely see parents and children sitting there maybe before going to bed, reading the book together
yeah,
and then
yes,
talking about the way
yes,
their brains work and
yes,
just,
exactly.
getting that acceptance. I think that's a beautiful message to
Yes,
leave with the
I
kids
hope
reading it.
so. Yeah.
Mm.
Can I just add one more thing, actually? You've just
Absolutely. Yeah,
sparked a
go for it.
memory in there, which is that we intentionally included, as all the books in the series have, a list of questions for grown-ups and kids to talk about after they've read the book. So if
Mm,
parents aren't sure how to kind of, because I think these are the big topics, right?
yeah,
A Kids Co really talks about the fact that kids are ready for these big topics, death,
sure.
divorce, racism, white privilege, many, many others,
Yeah.
empathy, shame, a whole lot of things.
Mhm.
So there's actually a list of questions in each of the books which talks about, how do we kind of continue this dialogue with our kids, which I think is a really beautiful addition.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
things like, what does ADHD mean to you?
Mhm.
Do you ever feel like you have your head in the clouds or that you're bouncing off the walls? So it sort of plays
Mhm.
on some of the themes in the book to continue that conversation with parents and kids, which I really love.
All right. One last question then for you. What does ADHD mean for you?
Oh, I stick to it. I know it's not for everyone, but it's my superpower. It
Hmm.
really is.
Love
Yeah,
it.
I think I've got such a sense of energy. I've got such a sense of drive.
Mm.
And I don't think I would have done half the things in my life if I wasn't a bit crazy and impulsive. Crazy in a nice way, in the best sense
In
of
the
the
best
word,
way
not to
possible.
offend.
Yes.
But yeah, I think just that, like, living life from the perspective of, can do and impulsivity, and yeah, that seems to have worked well for me so
I
far.
do love the positive message to come out of it. As you
Yeah,
say, it is so quick for us to go with what's wrong with me rather
yeah,
than what can I build out of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well said.
So beautiful book, and I am so
Thank
glad
you.
to have had a chance to read it, and definitely a chance to talk to you. So I'm so sorry that we've got to the end of our session, but that's kind of a nice message to end on, I think. So
Thank you. Thank you
thank
so
you.
much for having me. I've loved talking to you.
Thank you so much, Ellie, for joining us on
Pleasure.
the Australian Book Lovers podcast. And thank you once again to the amazing Elly Both for that lovely chat about her a kids book about ADHD.
And another one who loves the Enid Blyton books and the Magic Faraway Tree. I mean,
There's
really, I wish we had $1 for everybody
Yeah.
who said that, every author, because we would probably do okay.
I wonder just how much that we just had Ian Martin books everywhere in
Yes,
Australia.
yes, we did.
In the 80s and
Mm,
90s and still definitely floating around for sure. But
yeah,
I do remember library lists, and there would be huge lists of books that were all Enid Blyton books. So
yeah,
I'm not surprised.
no.
Definitely seems to be my generation, that's for sure.
Also, my generation, I'm just going to say, take it back another 20 years, and the 60s and 70s, exactly what we were reading as well. Okay, and of course, Mem Fox, she does love Mem Fox. So I
Yes.
love the dip in and out style, and we did have a lovely writers' room with Christina Giffray, who
Yes.
also has ADHD and has created a book for adults about Dear Friend, and hers is the dip in and out kind as well, which is just brilliant.
Yeah, I love seeing the kids' books as well, the picture books for it. And what I do love about Elly's book is that it is written in a very superhero, pow, pop kind of language. It is a great discussion starter, I think, for parents and kids. And I tell you what, there's probably going to be a few parents that are going to read through with their kids going, "Ooh,
Ooh,
I'm feeling a bit that."
yes. Interesting, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. And interesting that we are starting to get a generation of adults who recognize and have been diagnosed with ADHD. It doesn't change who they are, but it
I'm
gives
sure
them a
right.
sense of um, understanding about their coping abilities, about the way they operate in the world, and helps other people then understand that very same thing. So yeah,
Yeah, yep.
it's
And
good.
I mean, I trained as a teacher, and we didn't get training on different neurodiversity in the kids that we were teaching. So
Mm,
I
mm.
can imagine these resources would just be really beneficial
Yeah,
for teachers and educators and parents, particularly.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, no, and it's wonderful that we now have authors coming through who
yeah.
have grown up understanding their own neurodiversity, and that is
Yes.
showing in the books that are coming out as well. How
More and
positive.
more. Yeah, more and
Positive.
more we can
That's
see
what's
that
good.
the diverse communities represented,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
And
is good.
they
People can
push
find themselves.
positivity.
Yes, more of it, more of it.
Yep.
Lovely, 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 lovely. All right, so thank you
Mhm.
again to Elly Both.
Indeed.
You got a quote for us, Laurie?
I do. And funnily enough, which has popped up a few times in both our upcoming writers' room and in with Elly. So, Brene Brown. Crazy busy is a great armor. It's a great way for numbing. What a lot of us do is that we stay busy. And so out in front of our life, that the truth of how we're feeling and what we really need can't catch up with us. And I think that's a really good one for ADHD sufferers, certainly. And just feeling crazy busy all the time. What is that covering? Are we hiding something? Are we not letting a part of us out by being too crazy busy? I don't know, but
Yeah,
it's a good one. I like that quote.
yeah, it is a good quote. She has some good
Mm.
things to say, Brene Brown. All right, I've
Mm.
got one by Ursula K. Le Guin from It Was a
Yay.
Dark and Stormy Night, or Why Are We Huddling Around the Campfire from 1979, which there you go.
Yay.
So this is take the tail in your teeth, then and bite till the blood runs, hoping it's not poison, and we will all come to the end together, and even to the beginning, living as we do in the middle.
Oh, I love
Aren't
that.
they good?
That's
It didn't
fantastic.
particularly have anything necessarily to do with Elly's book, as I sometimes try to do, but I just saw it and I thought, oh, I have to share
Yep.
that.
Yep. I
That's
love
really good.
that.
She was
That's
an
really good.
amazing writer. Amazing,
Yes.
amazing, amazing.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
need to get onto reading those
Yeah.
books if you haven't had a chance to. So,
Yes, and an
mm,
incredibly courageous writer for her era. You know,
yeah.
writing as a woman in the it was originally the
And
last paper
sci-fi.
read at a 3 days symposium on narrative held at the University of Chicago as her introduction to the piece explains in the collection Dancing at the Edge of the World. Anyway, I could talk about Ursula Le Guin all
I
day.
know, absolutely.
A
Same here.
lot of her work, again,
Yes.
very, the Ursula trilogy. I just
Mm,
love, love,
yeah.
love, love that.
Yeah. And if you love a good sci-fi, jump on because they are absolutely
Yeah,
fantastic.
they are brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
World building
So,
is extreme. Anyway, sorry.
yeah.
I love good world building.
Yes, goodwill building. So, what
Mm.
are you reading at the moment, Laurie?
My goodness. Well, I just finished Desert Tracks,
Yes,
which
me
was
too.
so good.
It
Thoroughly
was so
enjoyed
good.
that.
It
Yeah.
was so
Get
good.
onto that one if you don't.
Yeah, and the
If
images just sort of sat with me
yeah.
for days, and I kept thinking, oh, I can just see that because
And the
I've been
voice.
to Mapantwe, and it
Oh,
is beautiful. The country up there is just amazing, and I could just imagine it.
fantastic.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. So thanks, Linda and
That's
Marley Wells, for writing that absolutely beautiful story.
well, I'm actually reading two books at the moment. So I've started reading, ooh, which is our other wonderful writer, Criminal Cove, which I've got up there. I can't reach it at the moment,
Yep,
but
yep.
Criminal Cove, but also Tusk Love,
Ah,
which is a romantasy that
Right.
is set in the wonderful world of Critical Role.
Oh.
And it is amazing. It was a throwaway line in one of the campaigns
Yeah.
of Matt creating a library or a bookshop and coming up with a romanticy story, a spicy story about a half-orc and a young mage. And it's now a book. It is now
Oh,
an
there you
amazing
go.
book. It came out this week. I'm halfway through it and it is so much fun. So if you do
Oh,
like Critical Role or D&D in general, Tusk Love, or if you love a good romanticy, because at the moment that's
Tusk
all the
Love. I'm going to have
rage,
to get that for
Tusk
my
Love.
eldest because, of course,
Yes,
she went not only to
she
the
might have it.
Melbourne concert that Critical Role put on, but also flew up to Sydney
I
with
went
all
to
the
the
other
Melbourne
nerds.
show as well. It was so much fun.
Yes,
Oh,
and brought
yes.
home a bucket load of merch, which she already had a bucket load of merch. So there you go. Yeah,
So
Critical
much
Role,
fun.
Dungeons
Yeah.
and Dragons live for those of you who
Yes.
don't know any about it.
And
All
if you
right.
don't, as an author, get on to watching some of the episodes because the way Matt Mercer world builds in
Mm,
yes, it's a D&D world, but it's also a fantasy world. It's full of orcs and goblins and all sorts of things, but he can create an image in just a paragraph or even just a line that fully immerses you in this world. And if you want to get some tips on world building, you need to watch Matt Mercer
there you
create.
go. So it is, in fact, classed as research. It's yes, yes.
That's what I'm going with, absolutely. And also a massive fan.
Very good. All right. I'm reading Black Soil White Bread by
Oh
Madeline
yeah.
Dest, who we're getting her on in a few episodes. She's going to be chatting. I'm also reading A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon, which is after the Priory of the Orange Tree. I don't know if you read that one.
Oh, cool.
That is a big, thick one, and I have to be careful when I'm doing it because my wrist gets sore. I'm also reading First Knowledge is Health by Shawana Andrews, which is a really good book. And I'm nearly finished The Crystal Dynasty by Abigail Mader, who is what was one of our authors as well, and another book about change by the fabulous Dan Heath.
And I
So
need to get my hands on Susie Samuel's book,
yes,
who we chatted about
yeah, the
in our writers'
Unintentional
room.
Medium or
No,
the Dark at the Threshold.
yeah, the thriller supernatural, because who
Yeah,
doesn't love a good thriller supernatural? I
I
mean,
was just
that
going to
sounds
say,
fantastic. So that's
yeah,
on
no,
my list.
I don't have that to give away, so you'll have to buy that one yourself. Yeah. So many books.
So many.
And yeah, I think there's a couple of others, but I'm not going to own up to those. That's enough. So I think it's time for us to say
Yes.
goodbye and remind our readers to
To
read
read more
more
Aussie
Aussie
books.
books. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Let's meet again when magic happens.